I feel like I'm very out of practice. But some time has passed and I need to make another Degrassi video. So congratulations to the Degrassi fans and my sincerest apologies to the non-Degrassi fans. So typically what I like to do is sort of a watch along where I'm playing the episode on mute and then I'm talking us through it as I watch. This video, I want to try something different. I'm going to just watch at my own pace and then I'm going to give a commentary as we go. So this is going to be like a self-paced commentary. So this should allow me to expand a little bit more on my thoughts and impressions and not just like brush through it. So we're going to do Smokescreen from Degrassi Junior High, and it was requested by Live Free and Love Forever. If you are still here, hi, because you probably requested this like 3 years ago. This episode is season 1 of Degrassi Junior High, episode 10, and you may recall this as the like Environmental Action Committee episode. So let's dive on in. So we start out in the halls, you know, and Rick is saying hi to Caitlin, and Kathleen just has it out for Rick. I don't know what her issue is, but she just knows she hates him, okay? And that's going to be very entertaining throughout the whole episode. Okay, and this whole Rick-Caitlin thing, it is sickening, okay? Because Rick really just likes her as a peer. And then Caitlin, I mean, he said it perfectly, but Caitlin is just treating him like a project. Like, oh, he just needs a little help. Like, do you like him or do you feel sorry for him? She just gives him no credit at all. I guess it bothers me when any sort of relationship or potential relationship has this like power imbalance, which is why I always bring up Marco and Dylan, because Dylan kind of has this leverage over Marco. It's like this mentor-student kind of relationship, and that always like makes me feel icky. And so this Caitlin-Rick potential relationship that never happened, she's all like, I'll help you because you're poor and disadvantaged and dumb as a post. Well, the B plot in this episode is where the grade 7s are doing presentations on their family history. Susie does hers, talking about her uncle who's an astronaut or whatever, and all these kids gather around her after class and they're like, wow, great job. My only thought is like, kids don't do that, but hey, Canadians are nicer, so maybe they really do. Rick is leaving class, right? And Miss Avery's like, yo, you never turned in your report, like, why not? And Rick's like, I didn't do it. And Miss Avery's like, why not? And he's just like, and then she puts her hand on his shoulder, and Zach pointed this out, that he like looks at her hand like, don't touch me. It's just really great. Anyway, so Caitlin is watching the whole thing, and it's just further feeding into this preconceived notion she has that Rick is dumb. What she needs to understand is that it's not that he's dumb, it's just that he doesn't care. And that, my friends, is something that Caitlin should be embracing about Rick. And then Yick is talking about how he has to do research for his project. Oh, and basically, like, the whole thing with Yick is that he thinks his refugee story is boring, so he wants to make something else up. Next, we are in whatever room the Environmental Action Committee is meeting in. Kathleen's about to call the meeting to order, and then Rick walks in, and they're like, what are you doing here? And he says, like, I want to join or whatever. And he's, like, really making a conscious effort to be around Caitlin and to be involved in the things that Caitlin is involved in as a peer, as an equal. And Caitlin is just not seeing it that way. Anyway, so Kathleen's like, what do you know about the environment? And this is one of the most legendary moments on Degrassi. He goes, I live in it. And, you know, I used to think Susie was a really bad actor, but I don't know what's changed. Like, I think she's kind of okay. I kind of like her acting now. Maybe it's because we're 10 episodes in, but, you know, just the way she goes, I agree with Caitlin. Like, it just sounds like a really, like she's the mature classmate or the mature friend. The like running joke in this episode is that the Environmental Action Committee is always trying to come up with a new name. It's not really funny, and there's no really better options, I mean, besides the Environmental Club. So Yick is walking past a shop and sees this vase in the store window and decides to buy it and pretend that it's a family heirloom. He shows it to Arthur, and Arthur's buying it, and Arthur's like, oh, I should get this appraised because it could be really valuable. And Yick's like, nah, it's cool. Okay, and I just see this more and more clearly every time I watch. But so school's letting out, and Caitlin is asking Rick, like, hey, I'm gonna do an announcement for the petition tomorrow. Like, do you want to help? It's a great way to get involved. And he's like, sure. Like, she thinks she's giving him opportunities. He thinks that she wants to hang, but it's not. She's just trying to, like, improve his life a little. Like, we'll bring him up to my level. And in other news, Arthur accidentally breaks Yick's vase. Arthur breaks Yick's vase. It's not the most exciting B-plot ever. And Caitlin and Rick, I guess this is just to show the difference in class. Is that the right word? You know, socioeconomic class. This whole juxtaposition of Caitlin and Rick contrasting with each other constantly. But they walk past the factory that the Environmental Action Committee is so mad about, and they're like, ew, it stinks. And Rick's like, yeah, it sucks because I couldn't open my window. And Caitlin's like, just get an air purifier. And Rick's like, you think my dad could afford an air purifier? First of all, Rick, how would Caitlin know how much your dad makes? But okay. And I don't know. I always think like there's two sides to every story. And I'm not sure what all the environmental laws in Canada were, but there's probably a code that you can only emit this much toxin into the air, and as long as a factory operates within those limits, I mean, they're allowed to do it, right? So the government allows you to pollute just only a certain amount. And the kids just seem like they're making a bunch of assumptions about how industry works and about what the regulations are. Okay, but I'm not really sure what any regulations were in Canada in the 80s, but it just seems like they're saying that factory smells, and I heard that they're putting toxins in the air, so let's get them. I don't know. It just seems like they're kind of they don't have the full picture. They just know that it stinks. I want to say that I love Rick's character, and I love the actor Craig. I feel like he's so authentic. It's so well done. I love actors who are so good it doesn't even seem like they're acting, because like maybe they are their character a little bit. I feel like Luke is the same way, and I think I've said this before. But I love this like real authenticity and almost candid nature of Rick. I feel like he was great for the show, and I really wish he could have stayed. Rick and Caitlin get to Caitlin's house, and Rick is like falling all over himself because of how nice Caitlin's house is. They sit down to write the announcements, and Caitlin's boring as hell. She really doesn't have anything to offer. And then Rick helps her to spice it up a little bit, and they write a really terrible rap. But it's still better than, every kid today should be concerned about the environment. Okay, I hate the word cringe, but it's kind of cringy, but you know, in a lovable way. People were listening to that rap. Oh, and Kathleen hated it. And wouldn't you know it, suddenly everyone wants to sign this petition. Is it because they're suddenly concerned about pollution? Or is it because it was a really cool rap? You know, ever since I learned that Degrassi Junior High was just filmed on one floor in one hallway, I can see it. I can tell. Rick's happy. Rick is smiling. Like, people are scrambling to sign this petition, and he's just genuinely happy. And he did all this and made all this progress for no freaking reason. Check back in with the B plot. Arthur broke the vase but didn't tell Yick, so he's been telling Yick he's getting it appraised when really it's just broken. Now we're back at another Environmental Action Committee Club meeting. First on the agenda, should we change our name? And Rick rolling his eyes he is the smartest person in that room. Everyone else is just screwing around, and Rick can tell. He knows it. Sorry, I didn't mean for this whole episode to be me praising Rick and criticizing Caitlin, but it's just how I'm feeling right now. What about the petition? Arthur's trying to glue the vase back together. Moving on. Rick and Susie and Caitlin go to this factory on lunch. Did they make an appointment? No. But they're going to hand in that petition. Susie and Caitlin are kind of too scared, but Rick is like, come on, let's do this. Once again, Rick is the only useful member of this whole club. Okay, and examining this meeting between the children and the representative from the factory, and he says, we are operating within the guidelines established by the government. I mean, what more do you want? Look, I love the environment. I live in it, okay? But if the children have a problem with the factory, they shouldn't be going for the factory. They should be going for who is setting the guidelines, the codes for this factory. You need to go higher. You're just piddling right now. So the kids leave and they aren't really listened to. Susie and Caitlin are just like, whatever. And then Rick is kind of fired up. You can see that whenever Rick puts himself into something, he's getting invested. He's actually starting to care. He wants to participate. So it's obviously wintertime in Toronto, and I just love how everything looks so gray and just chilly and kind of dreary, but in this really urban way. I always get starry-eyed when I start talking about the way Toronto looks, but I think it's so lovely, and it's so 80s but still so modern, even compared to today where I live. And I don't know, I love seeing on TV where people have jackets on. You can tell it's chilly. You can see their breath in the air. And unfortunately, outside of Degrassi Grocery, Kathleen spots Rick having an angry smoke. I love watching Rick smoke. It seems like perhaps he has done this before. His actor, I mean. I feel like there was perhaps a stereotype that smoking is pollution. Smoking cigarettes is not environmentally friendly. Somewhere along the way, if that stereotype did exist, it does not exist anymore. I remember in college, all the hippies, all the art majors and environmental club people, they all smoked. But the problem that I see with smoking is that most of the time people throw their butts on the ground or out the window. And I really hate that, and I think that is a negative association that still exists to this day. But in terms of does the smoke pollute, I think the amount would be negligible. So it's just funny to me that that's not environmentally friendly. Kathleen sees that and it's that's enough to get him out of here. Now we're back in the Environmental Action Committee, and Kathleen's like, I saw Rick smoking a cigarette. He can't be in this club anymore. We can't have a polluter on the anti-pollution committee. The hypocrisy in this throughout this episode is strong. And Rick just flat out says it, the Environmental Inaction Committee. You have all these people that say they stand for something, but they don't show it with their actions. Meanwhile, we have someone like Rick who, sure, maybe he smokes, but he does so much more than all these non-smoking people who don't do crap. Do you know what I mean? So who's really better for the environment? I'm just so grateful for Craig Driscoll and the time he spent on this show. I just feel like he was doing somebody a favor by being on Degrassi Junior High. And if nothing else, he's doing all of us a favor. And I'm grateful for the time he did share with us. So Rick storms out of the room or whatever. And just the way Caitlin is looking at him, it's like she tried to keep a pet wild animal, but he finally ran away. She was like, aw, I thought I could make this squirrel my pet. I also feel like as a child there was this sort of a confusion because they'd be like, smoking is bad, smoking is bad, smoking is bad, smoking is bad all the time. So it made you start to think that people who smoke are bad. Did you feel like that too? That's totally what I was thinking. So if there was like an adult that I liked and then I found out they smoke, it broke my heart because I was like, you're bad, right? And I think that's how Caitlin and Susie and others feel towards Rick now that he's been outed as a smoker. So she's just like, get away from me. Caitlin's kind of an airhead, and Rick knows what's up. He is wise beyond his years. He did not need to still be in junior high. And Rick does clarify, I helped you. I helped you. It is 100% true. Okay, so back to that B plot. I'm sure you've been missing it. So yeah, Yick finds out he cannot share his fake vase with the class. So he has to go up there and tell the real story that he was a refugee. Was it from Laos? They never even say. But he's telling this story, though, that I have a question about. He's like, we're on this boat, and then this other boat comes. So we all duck down, and the boat didn't see us. And I'm like, the boat couldn't see there was a boat there? Ducking down isn't going to make your boat disappear. I don't know. This is just my thoughts. Another day, it seems to be after school, and Caitlin goes up to Rick, and she's like, I'm sorry, but smoking is stupid, though. Thanks. So they start talking again, like, and Caitlin's like, you were right about the factory also. And so then Rick has this idea, like, well, why don't we go to the newspapers and tell them that the factory ignored concerns from some youths in the community, and that might get their attention. And that's what the episode ends on. Yes, I think that is a good idea. Now that's a better idea. That's how to zoom out a little bit. It's not just us in the factory. Now it's like, how can we involve more people? How can we inform more people? So that is really smart on Rick. Let's think for a minute. How do we think Rick Monroe, the character, would have turned out? I think he showed a lot of potential. He could be doing something really cool. I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. Okay, so that concludes Smokescreen. It's aptly named because we have the smokestack on the factory and we have the smokestack that is Rick Monroe. I guess this is really a Rick episode. You know, I always think it's like a Kathleen episode or a Caitlin episode. This is really a Rick episode, and I love him. He's one of my favorites. I want to like the little moments between him and Caitlin, but I feel like I've repeated over and over. I feel like she doesn't see him as a peer. She doesn't see him as an equal, and so that is just kind of disappointing. But of course, this is a great episode, especially with the what do I know about the environment? I live in it line. So thank you, live free and love forever. And thank you for watching. Was this good? Did I do this good? I don't know. Let me know what type of Degrassi videos you'd like me to make. I know the lists go over pretty well. So if you have any more list ideas, do let me know. I have been keeping a running list of things you guys have asked for, and I need to up my Degrassi game. Like, sometimes I think I should put all this on a separate channel, but I don't know. We're in pretty deep. So anyway, don't forget to check me out on broomheadz.com. Check me out on Instagram at broomheadz. I'll see you next time. Bye, broomheads.